Yeah, hello everybody. It's Peter Dunn. So we're going to start the show with story time because it's important to do so. I welcome to the show Damian Dunn, fan of the Masters, and Kristen Elanius, who does not give a rip about the Masters.
Accurate.
Hello, friends.
Dame and I were talking pre-show about the Masters. The pageantry of it is lovely. I don't care about the golf, but I love the Jim Nance of it all. The pimento cheese sandwiches, theoretically. Hello, Chris. Okay, guys. Hi, Andy. I need you guys to be as honest with me as you've ever been willing to be.
Okay.
Oh boy.
Okay, so Kristen, I need you to be just blunt.
Okay.
If appropriate.
Okay.
Dame, what your challenge is, because you and I think so similarly, is that you're going to also have to judge yourself because you would feel the same way.
Oh no.
Okay.
That'll be fun.
Okay, so let me give you a little bit of setup here. This is spring break week here in where I live. And Mrs. Planner and our daughter went down to Florida for vacation because my son, person who looks a lot like me with hair, didn't want to go because he did not want to miss soccer training. So I didn't get a vacation. And I don't particularly care because, Dane, what you've grown to know about me is I don't really care about vacation that much.
Correct.
Love my family. I just don't care. I just don't care. However, to be fair, I am taking a half day today because I'm mentally at a bad spot. So I probably need to rest my brain a little bit. Alas. So I'm single parenting. It's a lot. It's a full-time job. This is not about sympathy for me. Please understand. It really is not. I want the takeaway eventually to be the empathy I have for those that single parent on a regular basis. I say it all the time. I have no earthly clue how you do it and still keep your head on your shoulders. Kristen, have you gotten to that point of your parenting journey yet where you understand how awful it would be, or pardon me, how difficult it would be to do it alone?
Yes, absolutely. Just by the way things are kind of structured in the evenings around our house, but it's also why I have a zero tolerance policy for not equal parenting in my home.
Dame, the element that you and I get into really gets us to the mom and dad Uber realities of our lives, right?
Mm-hmm.
So early last week, my son said, "Hey, I've got an ingrown toenail that's really starting to bother me." Okay, Kristen, have you been down this path? I don't know if women do this.
Of having ingrown toenails or like just being gross in general?
Sure, fair. Okay, Dame.
Do women have ingrown toenails?
No, I mean it's a male. It's a male teen. It's not unusual to get ingrown toenails.
No, and I would think it'd be even more prevalent with what his activities are.
Yeah, he kicks a ball.
Yeah. Fair enough.
So, my wife sends me a text from Florida, and she says, "Hey, if it's getting bad, go to CVS Minute Clinic and just get some antibiotics just to calm it down because it's probably infected." So I did. Went there, and the lady said, "Okay, if it gets worse, just go to urgent care, and then they'll just trim it out, and you'll be okay." Kristen.
I guess I didn't know that minute clinics weren't basically the same as an urgent care, so that's news to me.
Okay, well, hey, we are all learning together today.
Okay, go ahead.
So he starts on the whatever. I don't know what part HIPAA's involved with me disclosing this about my son's toe or not. So Thursday, which is yesterday morning, I'm dad taxiing around trying to also CEO this place and do a few other things. I'm speaking at one of our clients yesterday afternoon, so I'm scrambling. He calls me midway through training and says, I can't do anything else. I'm done. My toe is busted. We've got 2 games this week. I was like, okay, what do you want me to do? So I come pick him up. I go to urgent care. I was like, all right, well, we're going to go get it cut out. I go to urgent care. I go to the front desk and I say, hey, this here boy has got an ingrown toenail and I need them to cut it out. And the lady's like, okay, great. Signs me in. We get called back pretty quick. I don't know, nurse practitioner, tech. I don't know. No offense. I don't know. I don't know who you are, what you're doing. You're very kind. Come in. What's the problem? Tell them the problem. Okay, just a minute. It's 5 minutes and 20 seconds. The vacuum one. Am I back?
A little
Growing?
more. A little more.
Getting better, getting better, getting better. And we
It's hanging on.
it's hanging on a little bit.
Out.
Am I
No,
out of
it's-
the vacuum?
Still kind of in a vacuum.
Still in the vacuum.
Yeah.
Who texts this show? Me?
Yeah.
I think so.
Am I still in the vacuum?
A little.
Oh my God. Okay, am I still in the vacuum?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, this is terrible.
Oh,
Oh,
Wait.
am I back?
be fine.
Yes.
Okay, like I said, it's fine. So another person comes in, you re-explain the problem. And the person says, oh, we don't do that here. And I said, well, I just heard the person at the front desk and they said, yeah, they brought me back. They're like, we can't do that here. I said, well, do I have to pay for this appointment? They're like, yes.
Yes.
And I said, the person at the front desk, I told them what we needed and they sent me back there. They go, well, that person can't give medical advice. And so I'm frustrated. And I just want to pause here because it was a week of building frustrations and anxieties and stresses. And I felt that was a culmination of me not losing my mind and melting down, or as the kids say, crashing out on these people. I didn't. But I come to you today, Kristen.
Yes.
And as I looked online today to go to this facility to write them a firmly worded email, cannot find it. I have not. Am I crazy, or is that the dumbest, most crooked thing in the world? Or am I just being oversensitive? It's to you, Kristen.
I understand why you're frustrated. I would be frustrated too.
Okay.
But I also, as my best friend works in vet med, so obviously different, but there's a lot of liability. Hear me out, hear me out. And like when you call to make an appointment, like they legitimately can't tell you anything. They're like, do you want the appointment or not? Because I can't give you medical advice. So perhaps when you checked in, they should have been a little more clear of like, I actually don't need to know why you're here because I can't say whether you should be or not. Maybe that part should have been more clear. But I assume that rule exists out of pure practicality, and it's not the front desk person's fault. Who are you mad at?
All right, Dame.
Completely justified in everything that you were feeling. And you probably should have flipped some tables on your way out.
You guys give advice for a living, but you know you have to stop short of certain advice. And me too. And I'm so mad. I'm so mad. It just like it doesn't pass the sniff test. It's like when I was once at an airport and the ticket got printed, it said Peter Dunn, Peter Dunn.
Oh.
And I went to the TSA person and they're like, well, that's not you. I said, well, it is me. See, Peter Dunn. They're like, this says Peter Dunn, not Peter Dunn. We said, what are the chances that there's a ticketing error and my name is actually Peter Dunn and there's not someone named Peter Dunn? And they sent me back to the desk to get another ticket and I had to wait another hour in the line. It's the same sort of stupidity. I don't know. Go ahead, Dave.
Can I see if I have a story that's similar with the same stupidity from my spring break?
Sure. Yes.
Got a rental car. We were down in South Florida. Went out to get in the car one day to go to the grocery store to buy some stuff. Nothing. Dead battery.
Oh.
Now, the type of car that we got is notorious for killing batteries. It's something in the software. It just kills batteries. If something is, it's all over forums and whatnot.
I don't know. How would you know?
Did you know that in advance, or did you Google that when the battery was dead?
I happen to own one of these vehicles myself, and so we got it for familiarity because we would just have the same thing on vacation. No big deal. So I call the rental company. And they say, okay, we can dispatch roadside service. It'll be blah, blah, blah dollars for them to come out and jumpstart the car. I said, well, wait a second. I didn't cause this to happen. It's not my fault. Well, we understand, but you didn't get roadside coverage. So you're going to pay for somebody to come and jump your car.
That's
So
insane.
I said, how about this? How about I just say, car's not working, come pick it up and bring me a new one. Oh, well, Well, I guess we would have to get you to the nearest location. Can you guarantee me the same size of vehicle? Well, no. Well, then you need to come jump your car. Well, that's not how this works. It's like, well, you can charge me whatever you want. I'm not going to pay it. I'm going to protest the charge and not pay it on the credit
Dave
card.
said, "Let it go to collections." I'm not taking out any credit.
I think it's the same thing. It's somebody else's stuff. It's not my problem.
Right.
You gave me a working car. It's not my fault that it broke.
Dame, I know you've seen Falling Down with Michael Douglas, right?
It's been a long time, but yes.
I'm going to watch it this afternoon on my day off because it's a man that snaps when stuff like this goes wrong and he kills a bunch. Pardon me. It's an action. Anyway, Kristen,
Spoil it.
guys, let's do a show.
Yeah.
Today we are talking about taking a kind of a slightly different approach to the energy markets. Okay, we're going to talk about oil. We're going to talk about the impact on gasoline prices and who it impacts. But we're going to go a little bit further and we'll say, okay, how does it really impact people beyond gas? And who is the most exposed to this? And I think what you'll learn is it's a little different than you think. It's just a little different than you think. We'll dig into that today on the radio show, which starts in 3, 2, 1. This week on the Pete the Planner Show, we answer your money questions. Here's how the show works. You email us, askpete@petetheplanner.com. That's askpete@petetheplanner.com. And here's what will happen. You will have your email answered on air if you email us at that email address by 2 certified financial planning practitioners, Kristen Elanius and Damian Dunn, and of course me, a fool. Kristen, hello.
Hello, Pete.
Dame.
Hello, friends.
Okay, so this episode, we're talking about the true impact of the energy markets fluctuating. What is the downstream impact on the world based on the oil prices that are currently kind of swinging around based on all the goings-ons in the Strait of Hormuz? Dame, is that a reasonable setup as to what we're doing today?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Okay. We had a very engaging Slack conversation amongst the three of us earlier this week, which we all checked our privilege at the door with the following idea. Kristen, I believe you may have jumped in first and you said, I know gas prices are swinging wildly or going up. I just don't care because I got to go where I got to go. That's basically what you said, huh?
That is what I said. And hearing someone else say it doesn't sound as good. That is what I said.
Okay.
I couldn't tell you how much gas costs.
Okay,
Full stop. I had to look it up this morning because I ran an example for the show. I quite literally had no idea.
Damian Dunn does not feel terribly different.
I pay attention to what gas prices are typically, but it is what it is. And I can't say that my behavior or my decisions don't change as gas prices go up, but I don't stress out over it like I used to.
Here's what we're going to do. Let's ground ourselves. We're going to talk. The show's about oil. It is about petroleum. But let's go ahead and hit gas prices because we're here, and I think it will ground us in this conversation. Did a little research with Gas Buddy. People love Gas Buddy. Oh, I should also check. I don't really care what gas prices are. I just sort of adjust on the fly the other stuff I'm doing. Gas Buddy says before all of the stuff, $2.73 was the average price of gas in the United States.
Gee,
What?
it's a lot higher than that now. I know that now.
Boy, Dame, we just ruined our chance to do a really good guessing game with Crystal.
Yeah.
Oh, that would have been so embarrassing.
$4.16 is the cost of sort of low tier unleaded right now. Okay. So what I did is I created a little bit of a calculator for myself. Here's the other thing. Again, we're trying to be as honest as we can on the show. My car uses premium. Okay. So, yeah. So it's even worse. It's like I paid $5.50 this week.
It's like diesel.
Okay. I don't know anything about that. Okay. Let's not do this to me today. All right. So here's what I did. Here's my calculator for a month. and I just based on average gas price of mid-tier gasoline. Okay. My tank is 16 gallons. Okay. And I run it pretty low, a little bit of a game. Okay. I fill up 4 times a month, approximately.
Okay.
Kristen's face. She works from home. That's 64 gallons. At the original gas price, that's $174.72 of fuel costs
A month, right?
a month.
Okay.
Okay. Not terrible. That's just me. I don't know what Mrs. Planner does. Probably more like Krista. With this increase, it is now $266.24 a month, meaning that all of the things going on in the Middle East, from a fuel standpoint, for me, is a $91 difference for the last 30 days. So I just wanted to ground us there. Dame, thoughts on this sort of idea?
I mean, while that may be something that a lot of families can absorb, it could certainly impact folks who are on different priority missions with trying to get their financial life in order. So, but $90 when you look at the difference over a month, it's not that much.
Yeah.
I mean, it's still $90. I would rather have to spend frivolously.
And again, this is the direct cost of one driver in a 3-driver house. Okay. Now, Dame, you sent something through the Slack channel this week saying Governor Mike Braun just suspended a piece of the gas tax for Hoosier drivers to the equivalent of 17 cents a gallon. Dame, I went ahead and ran this through the same tool that I built.
Yeah.
$10.88 of relief.
Wow.
Nice.
And again, better than nothing. Totally appreciate it. The state is still keeping their 36 cents of excise tax. They're just suspending the variable part, which is 17 cents. So that's where we are from a fuel standpoint. The show is not about gas prices today. We're not doing that. We're talking about oil. Before we move on from gas prices for drivers, do either of you have anything you want to say about that?
Well, because I don't know how much gas costs, I started to do a little math this morning, and what I found was jarring. Would you care to hear?
Please. Dame and I could use a giggle.
So the two of you know that I have long held the belief that your vehicle that you use to commute should be borderline unreliable. Like that's how close it should be to like being put in a scrapyard. Like it should be a vehicle that you can either pay cash or have a really, really small loan for. You should have a car to commute to work.
Time out.
Granted.
This gets to one of these terms that I did not learn until deep into my adulthood.
What?
The daily driver.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
Dame, again, I mean, I just never had heard of that until I was an adult for a while. So, Kristen, go ahead, please, Dame.
Winter beater?
No, you
But
don't.
yeah.
No, I mean, I was called that in middle school when I was
That-
beatboxing a lot
Another okay. All right.
in December. Kristen, go ahead.
So we have three. Well, okay, fine. We have 3 vehicles at our house. Okay. One is a rather large truck.
Mhm.
One is a very small car. And then my SUV that Pete also thinks is really large, but is actually not that big. Okay. So I ran the math for the difference in cost for Maggie's dad to drive to work in the truck versus the car right now.
Are we not calling him your special friend anymore?
You can call him whatever you want.
Okay, go ahead. I just got upset for a second. That's what I call him.
So just for a little context, the Camry gets like 22 miles to the gallon. Okay.
Okay.
The Dodge gets 13.
Mm.
So it's quite a difference.
Mhm.
So if his commute to work and to do chores is like 42 miles a day. Okay. So the difference in a month between driving the Camry and the Dodge, do you want to take any guesses
I
at
could
the
probably
cost
calculate.
difference?
What do you got?
Almost $200 a month.
But I mean, you mentioned a word, Dame, help chores.
Yeah.
Can he do the chores in a Camry?
Feed buckets fit in the trunk of the Camry.
But isn't that emasculating to pull feed buckets out of a Camry?
I don't think he cares.
I don't think the cows will respect him as much.
I would agree. Like
They don't care. They just want the feed. They said, get over here. But $200 a month. And add to the fact that the Camry was a third of the price. So it's like, that's why I feel so strongly about having a daily driver. It's just like that cost, especially in times when fuel prices are higher, really, really makes a difference.
Coming up after the break, Dame and I are going to reenact the conversation of Kristen and her special friend as she shares her thoughts with him about fuel prices and then the true impact of oil prices. Enough of this gasoline stuff. How does it affect the rest of your life? Right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner. Okay. Dame, are you doing any inflation stuff in the news? Because it came out late this morning, so I doubt you are.
Yeah, I
Street
didn't make
Journal.
it.
Chris?
What?
What did you say?
Oh, I just said the Wall Street Journal. I saw that notification.
There was a couple notes from it that I thought were really interesting. At just every inflation report, there's going to be things that are good. There's going to be things that are bad. Like I sometimes it's not political. It's just numbers. Okay, this I don't think is political. Here's one for you, Dame. And you used to care about peanut butter, but now are you back to caring about peanut butter?
Peanut butter is probably like 75 to 80% of what it once was. So I can enjoy peanut butter M&Ms again.
I can tell you this. I love peanut butter more than anything, but based on my current eating habits, I just don't eat peanut butter.
Yeah.
It's sad.
Calorically dense.
Correct. The price of peanut butter jumped 2.2% last month and is up 5.3% in the last year as a lot of peanut producing areas are facing a drought. Also, American farmers are estimated to be planting 15% fewer acres of peanuts this year than last year. So the peanut supply could diminish even more. Interesting, right?
What about the almonds?
About
I
what?
feel like the adjacent conversation is the almonds because it's always like they use so much water and that's expensive. And I feel like that's another area that you would expect to see an increase to.
I don't know the answer to that, but I'm just sort of thinking off the cuff here, like you got almond milk. You never hear of peanut milk. Why don't people eat any peanut milk?
Probably the calories.
No one knows for sure. Let's keep it moving. How about eggs? Eggs. Are you ready for the decrease in eggs? I had it here.
Decrease.
Oh, yeah. The hot button issue of the last several years, eggs are down 44.7% over the last 12 months, and they are back to the levels of early 2022 before people were losing their minds.
I would assume a lot of that has to do with the fact that there were some really bad strains of avian flu that went through and entire farms had to be culled.
It's still not good.
Yeah, it's not great, but it's better.
Beef is one of the biggest drivers of stubbornly high food prices. We've actually talked about this on the show. And by all means, this challenge predates the current war situation in the Middle East. I always say I'm not going to get into it. I'm really trying not to get into the war today. I'm just really not. Like, we'll see how good I do. Prices actually eased a little bit in March for beef, but are now up 12% year over year. Okay, so needless to say, inflation is the highest it's been in 12 months. This time year over year, we're up 3.3%. So I think a lot of it's could be driven by fuel, but I think for now, and then you're going to see that I think the next couple of months, what we're going to talk about on the rest of the show of what high oil prices do to the rest of the economy. Any thoughts, Chris, Dame?
So when you asked about inflation stories, I had one that was written before the official report came out, but they expected it to be one of the biggest monthly increases since the 70s. So, but almost all of it driven by oil, fuel, gas, whatever you want to call it. So, yeah, it's going to be rough for a little while. It's going to make the Fed's job even harder to figure out what's going on and what direction to go. It has the possibility of being a pretty rough quarter, half year, maybe even entire 2026.
How glad are you guys that we did the prediction market show a few weeks ago as you read news all the time now?
Yeah, so I used to really just not pay attention to anytime I'd see an ad or some news about it, just whatever. I didn't care. But now that we've done that show, every time I see something, I have a little bit more interest in it because I understand what's going on there. I've got, I don't know if I announced it on the show or not. I downloaded one of the apps on my phone just to take a look at it and see what it was like. Haven't placed anything, haven't made any projections. 'Cause that's not who I am, but it's interesting, and there's more of a curiosity to it for me.
I was doing an event at one of our clients yesterday who is a professional sports team. And what?
Well, just the previous conversation and then where this started doesn't feel
Well, yeah, exactly. And so I was just talking about investing, and I said, it was like a basics class. And I was like, well, investing is not gambling. And then I said, I don't think I should say the G word in this building. Like, it's like, and then like people kind of laugh, but there was also like a lot of uneasy faces. And I was just like, yeah, I probably should back out of that. Okay, enough of that. Let's do the show. In 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner show. No doubt you've heard that oil prices they are up. They've sort of eased over the last couple days just for sanity reasons. We are recording this show on April 10th. So by the time I even get this off to our podcast platform or you listen to it on the radio, it could be wildly different. But that being said, gas prices are still up, I think 50% or so from where they were in mid-February. We talked about gas and gasoline and its direct impact on commuters and people's financial lives. But what we're going to spend the rest of the show on is what people, what groups of people, what type of people are most susceptible to cost challenges when oil prices rise significantly. We've clearly covered gasoline, but we're going to cover everything else today. We're going to do a little bit of a guessing game today. I'm going to let you guys draft big impacts. Okay. So like, what are other impacts for a consumer other than their personal fuel consumption for their personal vehicle? Kristen?
Yeah.
I will let you go first. What is another impact of high oil prices on people based on these ideas?
Defer. Can I defer to Dame?
Dame is going, she punts. I don't know. She defers to the second half. She will go on defense in the next segment. Dame?
Do you want me to take an obvious one or a not so obvious one?
Well, I mean, take the good ones early because let's just make this harder on Chris for deferring.
That's fair. So like if I say transportation, like delivery costs or something like that's fair. That's what you're looking for, that kind of thing?
It's absolutely fair game. And I think we need to spend some time on this. So let's just take an example. Chris, we can go DoorDash, we can go Amazon, we can just go something shipped via UPS. What do you want to do?
USPS.
Okay. We got a whole other story about that. Okay. So you go to the kiosk, they weigh your little thing on a produce weigher, and then you got to ship something to Calabasas or whatever. I don't know. And it's going to cost a certain amount of money 2 months ago. And then now it costs a different amount of money. And arguably 45 days from now, it will cost you even a higher amount of money based on fuel prices. That is not only a problem if you are directing or you're shipping directly as a consumer, but Dame, or not as a consumer, but I'm shipping something to grandma. Mm-hmm. But if I'm getting something shipped to me that I purchase online, not only will the raw materials that go to the manufacturer be subject to those gas price increases, but then the final product, when it gets shipped to a distributor, will be subject to those increases. And then finally, when it comes to my household, I'll be subject to those increases. That's a problem.
Yeah, it literally touches almost every point of your life. Whether you go get it yourself or you have it sent to you, unless you grow it on your land, you're going to be paying some sort of increase for this.
I'm going to go ahead and pull the tab back on another one, trying to get in front of Kristen so she only has the harder ones to think about since she punted. Dame, you just said something so interesting that sheds light on the one grocery product that is most subject to price increases when
Can I
oil goes up? Go ahead.
Bread.
Ooh, interesting. No, but I bet it's second. Kristen, do you want to guess?
I would have no milk.
I love when she
No idea.
doesn't know what to do. Here's the thing about Kristen,
It's
everybody.
penny. That's what I was thinking. I was trying
Okay.
to think of like fuel is more expensive when the goods are way more. That's why I didn't think bread. Bread weighs nothing.
Produce.
Why?
Yeah.
Produce.
Because it comes from far away.
It comes from far away.
But that's where your Midwestern bias lives. It might, maybe people who live where you actually can get fresh fruit more often don't feel that way.
Guess where I live?
Where there's not.
Midwest. So, like, if I want an avocado from Mexico, not only does it have to avoid the tariff that was almost slapped on it, but then you also, one, have to figure out how to take the pit out without cutting your hand. But three, it's going to be super, super, super expensive. Anything, even if you think about Trader Joe's, like their frozen meats and protein section, their sea bass comes from like Vietnam or something like that. Do you know how expensive it's going to be to ship sea bass, frozen sea bass from Vietnam? It's going to be insane. Dame's making a look, and I think it's that he does not like bass from the sea.
I don't, but I was just thinking that I haven't checked on that market lately. I couldn't tell you what the shipping cost for sea bass from Vietnam is going to be.
It's
In a,
niche.
in a similar vein, I was thinking about we live pretty far from where almost all the lettuce in the US is produced. So I would imagine that's one that you would see an increase in price more than maybe others.
Well, let us take a moment to acknowledge that.
Lettuce.
Okay.
Okay, moving on. Kristen, you actually get a chance now. What other thing that will increase the cost of someone's life based on oil price increases?
I genuinely do not know, you guys, because it's everything. It's anything that has to be brought to you or to someone else. Like, I feel like saying shipping costs is all encompassing. What is not included in that?
Oh,
Yeah,
there's a
but-
lot.
So where I was going when I said bread, it was a story a long time ago, and I couldn't tell you what the actual numbers were, but it's the packaging of this stuff, not the transportation of, but the packaging, like the cost of how much more it was going to cost to make the bags that the bread is in because of the oil that's used in plastics was going to go up not insignificantly, and on a percentage scale, it was one of the bigger increases in a grocery store. So now we not only have to worry about getting stuff there, but how that stuff is actually handed over to you. The packaging that it comes in is going to go up as well. So it's literally everything.
For the radio audience, again, let me just sort of reset how this entire show works. This is a radio show that you're listening to right now. It's also a podcast. You can listen to what happens between the break. Just go to wherever you get podcasts, search Pete the Planner. For the podcast audience, I often talk about my health journey and these crazy things I do. Kristen, to Dame's point, I started a new regimen this week involving collagen peptides into my diet. Okay. Not for hair or skin issues, but for my joints because I'm 1,000 years old. The packaging, Dame, says now with 90% less plastic, which we know is a petroleum byproduct. So, Dame, you're right about that. Okay. I want to go back to produce here for a second because we're trying to create a profile of the type of person who's actually going to suffer from this the most. Dame, if your diet consists of very little produce, then it doesn't really matter. If you are a family that is eating healthy, those were air quotes, and you're really hammering that produce every meal, 7 days a week, you're really paying for it. So part of this is not only just general consumption of this, but specific consumption based on your lifestyle.
I hadn't really considered that. Now I'm thinking, well, gosh, what's the cost comparison to the average American diet versus a clean diet versus somebody who leans on fast food a lot as well? I mean, what's the delta when oil prices go up? Is one less susceptible to price increases? That'd be a really interesting study.
I know we eat a lot of produce, a tremendous amount of produce. And you're already seeing like berries, or our kids go through berries like I don't even know. I don't even know if I knew what a berry was when I was a teenager. But our kids do, and they eat a lot. And I'm guessing those prices are flying up. All right, let's hit one that is kind of obvious before we go to the break, and then we'll come back and talk about it. Airline tickets.
Mm.
Airline tickets are arguably already prohibitively expensive, but they're going to get a lot worse. They're up 14% here recently. So coming up after the break, we're going to continue to build out the profile of the type of person who is most impacted by oil price increases right here on the Pete the Planner Show. I'm Pete the Planner.
Baggage fees just went up too on United, Delta. One of the big airlines just increased it by $10 for the first checked bag.
Jeez.
Not to pat myself on the back because
increase?
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Chris. Yeah, what?
It's like a 20% increase, right? They're usually like somewhere between 30 and if it's $50, that's insane.
I don't even know. But that's how they're trying to offset the extra fuel to lug around those 150-pound bags that people try and slide through check-in.
I already feel pretty good. And I mean, we're only halfway through the show, but I feel pretty good that I've not that I haven't like gone hot take-ish.
Yeah, you're great. You're doing great.
You're doing a good job.
You guys gotta have to reinforce that because again, it'll be before a show. I'm like, I don't keep it cool today, and then all of a sudden, I get this look in my eye, and I know you guys kind of sit back. You're like, oh. I would like to say I both apologize for doing that to you, and then I just feel more drawn than ever to do it. But I'm not doing it today.
That's fair.
You're not going to upset me if you do.
Pete's doing a great job. Everybody's happy with him.
That's right.
Okay. Gosh, that sound drops. Okay, I'm not going to do it. All right. In 3, 2, 1. Back on the Pete the Planner Show. Here's the show. Picture this. The show today is about what will increased oil prices do for the rest of your life. Not for the rest of your life. To the rest of your life. Not for the rest of your life. It's a little aggressive. We all know gas prices stink. So if you're going to fill up your car to take your kid to soccer, that's more expensive. But now what we've been exploring is like, what are the other purchase decisions throughout your life that are impacted this? We've talked groceries. We've talked delivery in the forms of things being delivered from Amazon or USPS. Dame, let's not skip by another food one before we get back to airlines. Let's go to DoorDash for a second. And the reason I want to do it is because what a person ends up doing is they almost get triple affected.
Triple? Do tell.
At least double. Okay, so so the restaurant, which is always spelled differently than you think it should be. Don't you agree the word restaurant doesn't?
What alternative spelling would you propose?
Let's not do that.
Okay.
I'm just saying when you go to spell it, you're like, huh? Okay. The restaurant makes their produce purchase. They're going to have increased costs. So they're going to increase their menu prices. They've already had beef price increases too. Okay. And then all the bread packaging. And then you've got someone delivering your food to your house, which is also, there's going to be a surcharge increase there as well. And here's the triple part. So what happens is a business will have their normal menu prices, but then they'll have their DoorDash menu prices, and then DoorDash will put another charge on top of that for delivery. That feels triple-ish.
And your percentage for your tip then just naturally goes up. If you're a 15% tipper, your total cost just goes up. So there's your real triple.
We're actually talking about quadruple tipping. So I will say this, and I sort of, when I was doing show prep, I kind of came to this conclusion. If you are a person who often employs convenience, you are toast.
Wonder what the most unlikely convenience business that you would employ to enact a fuel surcharge would be.
Say more.
But oftentimes, a small business, it's tough being a small business owner, especially when costs are fluctuating wildly. How much of it are you going to eat? How much of it are you going to pass on? And I'm wondering, times like these, it would, in my opinion, not be unreasonable if you haven't implemented one to think about it. And I'm wondering, what's the least expected business that could get away with enacting a fuel surcharge? I don't know. Just an interesting question. I mean, obviously, landscaping businesses, you expect it. I mean, they are doing nothing but burning gas all day long, and their costs go up exponentially when fuel prices go up by 50%. So they're going to probably make some pretty quick changes. But other businesses, I don't know. It'd be really interesting to see who tries to sneak one through.
I'm doing a little calculation here.
Okay.
I love to build Excel spreadsheets on the air just to panic myself. I'm going to see if I can get it done in time here. Now I'm pulling out my calculator. I wanted to calculate the cost of fuel for me to go on a 7-mile round trip to pick up my own food.
Okay.
Versus the charge. Okay. We are here. The math is working. Okay. It would cost me $1.40 to go pick up Brew Burger. It's about a 7-mile round trip from my house. It will cost me $1.40. If I have it delivered, there's already going to be a delivery surcharge, so DoorDash makes its money. But they're eventually going to put a fuel charge on it anyway that's going to be significantly more than $1.40 because that driver has to go to the restaurant from wherever it is they were and then come to my house, which is not a 7-mile round trip. So this thing where we all go, well, it's okay, it's a convenience. When oil prices go up, you actually have to wait a beat and say, is it worth $40 more, whatever the heck it is, to feed your family of 4 because I don't want to spend $1.40 of gasoline in my time to do it? Dame, is that math track?
Well, I was going to say that the time is the variable that you didn't calculate in there. And if you did, I'm sure our board will be happy to know that you're so inexpensive to employ that we can make some adjustments on the salary side of things for you. So that's the variable. I mean, 7 miles in central Indiana, time-wise, looks a lot different than 7 miles in Los Angeles or Atlanta. We're talking about different amounts of time. Okay, 7 miles is 7 miles wherever you go. I get it. But the time that it's going to take to commute that is a little different.
It's good that Dame brought up roundabouts.
But what about the people who can't really do anything about it, who just have to accept it? And I mean,
Who? Who?
like people who can't cut out convenience. Like, for example, if you live in a more rural area, you're not employing convenience to the same degree as someone who lives in the metropolis that is Indianapolis.
If you don't have
You don't have as many options for convenience. Getting DoorDash delivered to my house is like, I mean, technically it's possible, but like it's insanely expensive. It's nowhere near what it is for where you're at. Like, I think if you don't live where there are a lot of other people, if you live more rural, a lot of these costs you just have to accept. Like, you still have to drive further to the grocery store. Your delivery charge for your utilities is going to go up, and you can't get any closer to the plant where they're pulling that energy from. Like, I don't think that I think there's a population who you can't fix that. What are you going to do? Move? Not everyone's me. You say that all the time.
I love it. Kristen, there's a big one here we have not talked about that can get into your parenting style.
Oh.
Diapers.
Oh.
Diapers are wildly dependent on oil prices, especially if they are non-cloth diapers. So that is something you have to deal with. Here's one that impacts me and the rest of the Carmelites. Synthetic clothing, such as athleisure. Cosmetics and personal care products. Dame, here's one for others. Asphalt roofing shingles, vinyl siding, insulation materials, paint, and landscaping materials, including fertilizer and mulch transport.
Yeah.
It's really funny there's nothing funny about this. As we go down this list, what is interesting is it is, maybe to Kristen's point, it is impacting different types of people who live in different places, different ways.
if you live further from where the goods are, we're talking goods versus services. If you live further from where the goods are, it's going to cost you more. That's why I think someone who lives out in the middle of nowhere, particularly someone who thinks they're building their house this year, is the most impacted.
So you guys know I occasionally travel for work here at Your
Mhm.
Money Line, and occasionally we eat the cost as a business, but oftentimes if I'm speaking somewhere, we pass that cost on, and like, you pay for Pete's travel. And sometimes it's someone pulling me in a pedicab. No, it's usually airlines. Dame, if you want to really go way up the food chain and you start to talk about how increased fuel prices or oil prices impact things, then you're going to start to see that conferences that people go to, or large gatherings, or NCAA Final Fours, you're going to start to see the impact of these travel decisions in a huge macro way if this continues on. So here's who's impacted the most. I'm going to give the rundown with the minute we have left in this segment. This is my estimation. High commuting lifestyles because of fuel alone, and then all the other food indirect costs, I think it hits the most. People who do not have a healthy grasp on convenience-based spending. People that will literally order something off of Amazon all of the time. And if you think, oh, I have Prime, it doesn't matter, it will catch up with you, and it will absolutely matter. Frequent travelers are number 3, that it's just their lifestyle via business or personal. And then ultimately, where we need to land, because we're not that head in the clouds, is people with low margin households. We started the show, a $90 difference in fuel a month matters to certain households. So those are the impacts of high oil prices. Now you know. Coming in after the break, biggest waste of money of the week. I'm Pete the Planner. Man, I jammed that in there.
I thought it was pretty good.
Oh, of course, we also had just-in-time consumers, the people that constantly order on Amazon, but I view that as a convenience thing. And large vehicle owners, which is the Elanius household. Kristen, your vehicle is it looks like it's from Mad Max.
It's literally not.
It is
Dame-
a massive car.
It's not. It seats 5.
Comfortably.
Not with a car seat.
5 what? Elephants?
No, Maggie's car seat takes up its fair share.
Is it a long bed too?
What? We were talking about my car.
Oh, your car.
Yeah.
Your car's not that big.
Thank you.
Technically, it's a mid-size.
Thank you. I keep trying. He acts like he makes a comment every time I'm in Indy about how I drive this giant vehicle. And it's like, it is not.
I looked at my rearview mirror once when you were behind me. And I thought Gravedigger, the monster truck, was about to run me over in my cute ute.
I drive a Toyota 4Runner.
It's
not-
huge.
It's on a lift kit, but it's not even that big.
It's on a lift kit.
He doesn't even know what that means.
I don't know what that means. Well, you guys, I'm putting my car or whatever that thing is on a lift kit.
Deal.
Kristen, were you involved with kitting the lift or lifting the kit?
It came that way.
Who
the
does such a thing? From factory?
Factory did.
Mhm.
Factory off-road.
What, Dame, can you help me here? What is the point of a lift kit?
More ground clearance, bigger wheels and tires. If you want to go off-roading, you can air down the tires a little bit and crawl over rocks. So
That
it's
looks cool.
and it looks cool.
Okay, I got the looks cool part. Remember when there used to be breakfast commercials back as a kid, or even G.I. Joe action figures, and they would always paint a scene like you have it's like a cereal commercial, but then on the tray there's bacon and eggs and orange juice and milk and all these other things. You're like, no one does that.
No.
And then there's the G.I. Joe commercials where the kids are playing with their G.I. Joes outside in like dirt mounds, and they've got these things. They're like, no one does that. Dame, do people really off-road with vehicles?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
What? Who? Where? When?
I mean, you can off-road just by finding a field and a friendly farmer and just go to town in a
Not the
mud pit.
Wheatfield, please.
Yeah.
What is the okay, guys? I
Having
know.
fun. It's called
What is fun with
vehicle.
that?
It's not, it's not nearly, my car definitely stands out more here in the Midwest, but I bought it when I lived in Arizona and they're a dime a dozen in the desert. Like,
You get specialty, that are just made for off-roading, like an old Jeep Wrangler that has got tons of articulation in the
Mine has like a whole separate set of control knobs for the
Yeah.
off-road, and I don't know what any of them
They have
do.
a sway bar disconnect.
Where are you doing that here?
Yeah, well, I mean, there's a place not that far away from you that you could do it. But
But it's too new and nice.
yeah, it's you.
That's
Yeah,
this
you wouldn't
car's
use
gonna
that
make
to do it,
no, this car's gonna make it until Maggie's in high school, and then she can do that with it.
and I believe every word of that.
Indeed.
Okay, guys. Damn, you're gonna need to really help me out here. Why? What?
It's fun. It's motor. Okay, classified as motorsports. Like guys that take cars to racetracks and they
Okay.
love zipping them around. This is for the outdoorsy, adventure guy who wants to just go see if they've got a vehicle that can climb up a grade that is just littered with little rocks, little boulders, get it going at some ridiculous angle and make it through. They're going super slow, but and then there are actually races that kind of do all that. There's one out west, King of Hammers, that is totally.
You
totally
also have to be a really good driver. That's why I don't
Yeah.
partake. I don't
Yeah.
have the patience or the lack of anxiety to crawl like that.
Are these people insurable?
Probably
I
not.
mean, I don't know if those particular vehicles are while they're doing that activity. I would assume not, but I don't think they plan on them being either, because these are a lot of handy folks who are gonna, something happens, they're gonna, re-weld the protective cage they've got around different stuff, and I mean it's crazy.
Change the cabin filter.
Sure, they're usually a lot of them are open air because they just don't put tops on them, but that's all right. But yeah, maybe you can go off-roading, and I mean, goodness, let me see if I can get an example that's closer to home for you.
Okay.
Mercedes G-Wagon.
I would never. That is not. Well, that's closer to you. That's closer
one
to
of the-
you. That's not
One
me.
of the most capable off-road vehicles produced.
Who can? Okay, I don't know. Different strokes for different folks, and by strokes I mean like an 8-stroke engine. Is that a thing?
8-stroke engine? That'd be interesting. 8-cylinder engine.
Okay.
I love how quickly you admit that you don't know. You should have just rode with it and just like
I rode shotgun. I mean, it's truly different strokes for different folks. Nothing about that seems fun to me.
it's
You know,
it's not
okay,
for me
you-
either.
You went out to some of the great national parks out west.
Yeah,
Not-
I didn't.
not
I know.
that long.
I leave no trace, bro. I even pack TP
But imagine if you were able to go off the beaten path
And ruin a
really
national
immerse
park.
yourself into the wilderness and just crawl
I-
over.
I did on foot. I don't need a vehicle.
Well, you imagine how much further you could have gone if you'd been in a
The
mode of
moral-
transportation.
The moral of the story here is I could drive a much bigger vehicle. The one that Dame brings down to Indy is even bigger than mine.
Oh yeah, significantly.
This just sounds like a nightmare. Here's the equivalent for me. Dame, if you happen to be shopping with your special lady friend and they're shopping
My
and
wife, by
shopping.
the way. Yeah.
What's that?
It's my wife, by the way. Don't try
Yeah.
and throw somebody else into my relationship. I
Dame,
can't.
can you show us your ring finger real quick?
Yeah, it's not there. I had to have it cut off. It's a longer story.
It sounds like just a real passive aggressive way to break news to the rest of the show.
Not
Passive
so much.
aggressive is not Dame's style. I think that's
It really isn't.
more
You know,
you.
when you're shopping with a lady friend and you had to sit in that boyfriend chair for like 20, 30 minutes, well, that's off-roading to me. It's just like, what am I doing? What has gone wrong in my life that this is the moment I'm in?
Off-roading is a lot of problem solving. You would
I
like
that. I like
you would
that.
like that.
There you go.
I just imagine calling my insurance agent Todd and explaining how something went wrong.
Like I said, you probably wouldn't. These are vehicles that you just plan on putting a whole bunch of money into if you get a little crazy.
This does reinforce something that you two have known for a long time. I am not fun. I am funny, not fun. I am not fun. You want fun? I'm not the guy.
So true.
If you
I
want to
think
laugh a little bit, I'm the guy.
I think if somebody took you off-roading, you would laugh, and then you would say, "I'm never doing that again."
I'd get car sick.
Mm.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah, that you might, depending on what you were doing.
You know, it's like when you're a kid and the coach is like, "You guys ready to have fun?" And I'd be like, "No,
Pass.
no." I'm so like, I don't think I've ever explained like in the last of my adult years. So it's like, well, how was it? I don't think I've ever said, "Oh, it was really fun."
That's so sad.
Is it?
Yeah.
Because I think other people that go to things that you're at would say that they're fun.
I don't know. It's just not something I value.
I think maybe we should go to the next segment.
I value not being inconvenienced.
Yeah.
That's what I value. That's why sitting in my chair at home is amazing. In 3, 2, 1. This week's biggest waste of money of the week, right here on the Pete the Planner show, is the T-Rex leather bag. A T-Rex leather bag by Infin Levy. 66 million years after the last T-Rex walked the earth. Actually, I want to redo that read because I feel like I could have done it in a much better voice, Dame.
Go for it.
66 million years after the last T-Rex walked the earth. The species is making its fashion debut, the world's first product made from lab-grown T-Rex leather. So one-of-a-kind handbag designed by Berlin techwear label Infin Levy, built from a material engineered by VML, the organoid company, and lab-grown leather limited, using reconstructed T-Rex collagen sequences recovered from fossilized bone. AI modeling and computational biology filled in the genetic gaps, with the resulting blueprint synthesized and cultivated into a scaffold-free material its creators say is structurally identical to conventional leather, biodegradable, repairable, and produced without animal slaughter. Not everyone in the paleontology community agrees with the material qualifies as genuine T-Rex leather, myself included. The bag itself is a deep teal angular silhouette with 3 claw mark incisions, sterling silver hardware, black diamonds, a lining of WW2 British pilot cotton, and a Shindo nylon strap from Japan. Okay. This is nuts.
Why did we need leather or cloth from the Second World War when the entire point was that this is from DNA from 66 million years ago?
Isn't this the dumbest thing ever?
So dumb.
Would it have killed them to give us an image of a T-Rex with a cute little handbag over one of those short front arms? I mean,
That's a marketing miss. You're exactly right, Damien.
All right, Kristen, how much does
Hi.
this T-Rex leather handbag? Okay, I want to say a phrase that has never been spoken in human history.
Okay.
Kristen, how much does this T-Rex leather handbag cost?
With the increase in fuel charges to make the materials.
Fossil fuels?
Oh my. For those not watching the live stream, is over the moon about that one. This is 75,000.
Okay, Dave.
10 grand.
$660,000.
It's the fuel prices.
Oh my gosh, guys, that's so dumb.
That's so bad.
Dane, what's in the news this week?
Well, the United States Postal Service just made a pretty telling move, and it's not about stamps. They're suspending contributions to their employee pension plan to conserve cash. We're talking about roughly $200 million every 2 weeks that they're not now paying. The goal is to free up about $2.5 billion this year just to keep operations running. And to be clear, they're saying this won't immediately impact current retirees, but that's not really the headline. The headline is this. They're warning that they could run out of cash as soon as next year without major changes, rather. Didn't happen overnight. First-class mail, the most profitable business, has been declining for years. Meanwhile, costs like labor, transportation, and fuel keep going up. So what do you do when the math stops working? You start making trade-offs. And right now, they're choosing to keep the lights on instead of fully funding the future.
Here's my issue with the story after Kristen makes her point. Kristen?
How underfunded is their pension already, Damien? Do you know?
I don't know.
I thought I saw that number.
Because the answer is it is, and it's by this percentage. Like,
Okay, here's my problem, and it's intellectual dishonesty. Okay, so the Postal Service Chief Financial Officer, Mr. Luke Grossman, says, "quote There will not be any immediate detrimental impact to our current or future retirees if normal FERS cost payments are temporarily withheld." Okay, number one,
how's that true?
because he said immediate. He said there will not be any immediate detrimental impact, meaning, hey, everyone, don't worry, there's not going to be an immediate impact. Oh, it's going to mess you up. But there's no, that phrase, when the first time you read it or hear it, you think he just said there's no impact. No, what he said is there's no immediate impact. And I find that intellectually dishonest.
I don't like that.
The checks in the mail are going to clear. Don't worry about it. The next one.
I find this friggin' reckless. Just reckless.
Did the article say, Dame, weren't they imposing a surcharge on certain, I don't remember what, it was the news story I didn't read last night. They were already going to be implementing another surcharge. So that's not enough to bridge this gap.
Yeah, Dame, I think that's unfair that if a guy ships something, there's a surcharge. If a woman ships something, there's no ma'am charge.
Yeah, seriously.
What else is in the news?
The weight loss drug boom is turning into a retail story, just not the way you might have expected. You've got Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly battling it out over GLP-1 drugs, but the real winner here might be your local clothing store. Right now, about one in this many Americans are using weight loss medications.
Oh.
One in this many Americans.
I bet it's 15 to 20% of Americans.
Well, 15 to 20%, that would be
One
1.5 to 2 of 10 Americans. I say, or what do you say, out of 10? How many would you say? What?
I said one out of this many Americans.
Oh,
1 out of 7.
Oh.
1 out of 7, 17%.
Cricket?
just tell
You know what? No, don't worry about it. 1 out of 8 Americans are using weight loss medications. Very nice. That's roughly 13% of the population. And some estimates say we could go from about 10 million users today to 30 million by 2030. And here's where it gets interesting. When people lose a significant amount of weight, they don't just celebrate, they shop.
Mm-hmm.
One research firm estimates this could give an extra $13 billion a year in clothing sales. Think companies like Stitch Fix, Rent the Runway, even big retailers like Target and Walmart. Not everyone's winning though, Pete. Destination XL, which focuses on larger sizes, has seen its stock drop more than 45% this year. So yeah, there's a pharmaceutical arms race happening, but somewhere clothing executives quietly rooting for smaller pant sizes and bigger profit margins.
I mean, there's a lot of loss going around.
Everybody's spreading it around.
But it's not even.
Wow.
Yeah.
I totally believe the increase in number of people because there are studies now about like pushing off Alzheimer's. Like there are like the expansion of what you can use a GLP-1 for just continues to grow and grow. And then your market just becomes bigger and bigger. I totally believe that.
Dan, what else is in the news?
The government's picked who's helping run the Trump accounts. I think I sent this to you earlier this week, you guys. It's a pretty interesting pairing. You've got BNY Mellon on the back end and Robinhood handling the user experience, which tells you exactly what this is trying to be. Institutional plumbing on one side and a very approachable app-based front door on the other. Again, on paper, might be a good thing. Getting people invested earlier in life is generally a net positive, but it's also worth noticing who's going to benefit here. Pete, this could also be the longest customer onboarding process Wall Street's ever designed.
I'm not taking the bait, and I think it's uncool. I'm making an entire show without making some big sweeping comments about politics, and you drop this on my front step, and I'm not taking the bait.
Bummer.
I mean,
But I will say this. No, I won't. Dang it, Dame. Why'd you do that?
You could just do your outro and just.
yeah, you can wind it up from here.
Okay, well, that's what we're doing. I need to take a breath. We'll be back next week with more show. Well, here's what I want to leave you with. when you think about oil prices going up, and they are already up, but if they continue to go up, if the next couple of weeks doesn't go the way it's supposed to go, how can you make better decisions around convenience, travel, just-in-time purchases that will make a difference in your financial life? And I have nothing to say about the government today. That's all I got time for. So send you good times or vibes, or good luck with your life. I'll see you next week. You got me flustered. What are you doing?
I thought it was great, actually.
You didn't like the ma'am charge joke?
It was so bad.
How about fossil fuels? These
That
are
one was-
bangers.
The fossil fuels one was also a better joke, but your reaction.
Pleasure that you
phenomenal.
took in making the joke was the best.
I threw a stress ball across the room and
Nice.
cheered. I just told myself after last week's show, after I look at your faces when I'm just going on some rant, I'm just like, I got to stop doing that to them.
No.
Mm.
Do it all you want.
No, I'm gonna go. That's it. I'm out. Kristen, good luck with your monster truck. And Dame, enjoy off-roading in corn cobs. Like what?
Do you know the name of a monster truck?
I know a lot. I was a kid in the 80s.
Yeah.
You got Gravedigger,
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Bigfoot.
Okay.
Bigfoot 2.
Bigfoot 2, Bigfoot Junior.
Junior.
It's just that, but like much smaller vehicles, huh?
Oh, I'm just gonna go in my well-paved roundabout home here in a little bit. That's all I know. All right, everybody. Good luck with your lives. Stay getting money.